At exactly 7:10 local time, a massive Tomahawk missile erupts violently from the steel deck of the USS Spruance, leaving a trail of blinding fire behind. The deadly projectile immediately starts screaming its way across the ocean towards Iran. Suddenly, the powerful booster falls away, allowing a specialized turbofan the exact size of a coffee table to spool up. Roaring to life, the lethal weapon drops aggressively to just 50 feet above the dark and unforgiving ocean waterline. Merely 4 seconds later, another massive cell fires from the warship, followed immediately by another, and then yet another one. The largest American military operation since the dramatic 2003 invasion of Iraq has just officially and terrifyingly started. The entire Iranian military establishment is about to tragically discover exactly why ordinary American citizens lack affordable free healthcare access. Within 90 intense seconds, 8 heavily armed missiles are already gone, disappearing entirely into the morning horizon without a trace. Roughly 300 miles to the northwest, 2 other lethal destroyers are ruthlessly executing the exact same coordinated combat drill. 25 advanced Tomahawk cruise missiles now race dangerously low, skimming their sophisticated radar altimeters directly along the ocean wavetops. They are precisely threading the needle between various Iranian coastal surveillance stations on carefully plotted routes designed for total evasion. The estimated flight time to the heavily guarded IRGC naval bases on the southern coast is exactly 40 tense minutes. Absolutely nobody inside the sovereign borders of Iran currently has any idea that this devastating American firepower is rapidly approaching. Somewhere on the quiet Gulf Coast, an Iranian radar operator is probably drinking warm tea while watching a blank scope. That completely unaware individual has approximately 39 minutes of peaceful existence left before his entire world is violently shattered. However, these incoming Tomahawk missiles are famously patient and deliberately slow, cruising steadily at 550 miles hourly. A single lucky coastal radar ping could easily compromise the entire southern attack formation before they even cross the coastline. Everything absolutely depends on what specific airborne assets have already crossed the heavily defended border just ahead of the missiles. Already deep inside highly contested Iranian airspace, a massive wave of unmanned Lucas drones is doing something completely unprecedented today. An Iranian air defense operator sitting at a Bavar battery suddenly watches a dozen slow-moving contacts materialize on screen. Pushing inland from the coastline at a barely noticeable 110 knots, these mysterious blips create pure confusion. He simply cannot tell which specific contacts carry 40-pound explosive warheads aimed directly at his sensitive radar antenna array. Unable to distinguish the genuine threats from mere electronic noise, he does the only thing his strict military training allows. Without any hesitation, the nervous Iranian operator desperately fires his expensive interceptor missiles directly into the crowded and noisy sky. The powerful interceptor aggressively streaks off the launch rail, instantly burning over $1 million of the national defense budget. It seamlessly tracks a cheap drone the exact size of a riding lawnmower, closing at 3 times the speed of sound. The sophisticated Iranian missile impacts the tiny target perfectly, instantly turning the completely expendable American drone into harmless falling confetti. But what just violently blew up was highly expendable, a low-cost, unmanned combat attack system operated by Task Force Scorpion Strike. The cheap drones themselves, manufactured by Spectral Works in Mesa, Arizona, were completely reverse-engineered from captured Iranian Shahed platforms. They cost merely $35,000 to produce, and right now, they are the most important aircraft over Iran. The Iranian air defense operator desperately fires his expensive interceptor again, burning another $1 million in mere seconds of combat. Worse, every time that radar battery activates, it loudly broadcasts its exact position to passive sensors on F-35 stealth fighters. Those invisible Israeli jets are currently crossing the Iraqi border, completely undetected by the aging Iranian air defense network below. But the Iranian air defense commanders celebrating their supposed early victories are about to discover something absolutely devastating very soon. Those interceptors they just proudly burned through were going to be desperately needed by every single one of them shortly. Because what crossed the Iraqi border next was certainly not another disposable $35,000 propeller-driven decoy drone. 12 advanced F-35I Adirs stealth fighters had been quietly climbing east through Iraqi airspace for the past 90 tense minutes. Tucked safely behind a protective screen of silently running drones, These cutting-edge jets represent the ultimate technological nightmare scenario. Their sophisticated electronic warfare suites are passively cataloging every single radar emission along the border, while absolutely broadcasting nothing themselves. The silent Adirs fluidly fly in the dark electromagnetic shadow, each one hanging heavy with specialized guided munitions tucked inside. At precisely 8:05 local time, the lethal formation finally reaches its designated launch altitude over western Iranian territory. The lead weapons officer in the back seat has been intensely watching his targeting display update for the last hour. Attack coordinates are continuously refined via encrypted data link from an Israeli intelligence aircraft safely circling far away over neighboring Jordan. He quickly confirms the final firing solution before the pilot smoothly squeezes the release trigger on his advanced flight stick. Two massive 2,000-pound smart bombs instantly drop away, and the nimble fighter jet immediately pitches its nose upward. Far below the stealthy jet, a solid rocket motor suddenly ignites, punching the specialized weapon through the sound barrier instantly. The supersonic munition leaves a wide exhaust plume that the pilot watches shrink rapidly in his high-tech rear-view mirrors. 11 more deadly munitions are simultaneously released within seconds of each other, accelerating far beyond anything Iran can possibly intercept. While the subsonic Tomahawks still need 45 long minutes to reach Tehran, these advanced aerial weapons require mere minutes. The remaining Tomahawk cruise missiles are currently 10 short minutes from reaching their designated naval targets along the southern coastline. Having completely exhausted all their expensive interceptors on cheap drones earlier today, those coastal defense batteries are now dangerously empty. But right now, 12 unstoppable supersonic warheads are violently converging on highly sensitive targets located straight down historic Pasteur Street. At exactly 8:10, the standoff weapons brutally hit Tehran first, with zero functional warning time for the office of the Supreme Leader. Multiple direct hits obliterate the Intelligence Ministry headquarters and the Atomic Energy Organization, reducing several important compound buildings to broken concrete. Thick black smoke columns violently punch through the morning air as the sophisticated sensor fusion earns every single dollar of its staggering price tag. Exactly 4 minutes later, an advanced Strike Eagle from the 48th Fighter Wing rolls into the target area above. Forward deployed to Jordan from its home base in England, the powerful F-15E dives aggressively from 18,000 feet high. The weapons systems officer in the back seat has been staring intently at this exact target for 40 long minutes. An active radar display vividly highlights a hardened concrete shelter on the waterfront, featuring a distinctively strong half-moon roof. This incredibly robust structure was specifically built to permanently house and protect Iran's notorious fast attack patrol boats inside. These heavily armed vessels, exactly 50 feet long, were designed by Tehran solely to swarm the strategic Strait of Hormuz. They normally operate equipped with deadly machine guns and dangerous rocket launchers, designed to sprint out in packs of 100. The explicit goal has always been to completely overwhelm massive oil tankers and vulnerable commercial ships with sheer numeric volume. But absolutely nobody is sprinting anywhere from that strongly reinforced concrete tunnel structure on this chaotic and terrifying morning today. The weapons officer calmly designates the hardened shelter, confidently confirms his GPS lock, and promptly pickles the heavy smart bomb. A lethal 2,000-pound weapon instantly falls smoothly off the centerline station of the diving Strike Eagle fighter jet. 4 specialized grid fins immediately deploy, constantly adjusting the bomb's trajectory at incredible speeds as it steers toward the concrete slab. It hits the reinforced roof with the unimaginable kinetic force of a speeding freight train during 30 seconds of freefall. The massive warhead punches straight through the solid concrete arch and violently detonates deeply inside the tightly packed boat shelter. Because the sudden overpressure has absolutely nowhere to safely escape, the incredibly strong concrete walls instantly blow outward from within. The shattered roof forcefully pancakes down onto the helpless patrol boats, crushing them completely like a tightly clenched giant fist. Already aggressively climbing back toward relative safety, the Strike Eagle powerfully pulls 5 heavy Gs, quickly returning to cruising altitude. Looking down at the devastating aftermath below, the Strait of Hormuz suddenly sits completely open, shockingly quiet, and totally vulnerable. Iran had spent 40 long years loudly threatening to permanently mine this vital waterway and brutally choke the global economy. Those dangerous patrol boats that were supposedly going to accomplish it are now burning violently under a totally collapsed roof. But the absolute wrath of the United States Navy is far from being completely finished with Iran on this morning. 500 miles further east, the massive nuclear aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln is making 30 steady knots into a headwind. Sitting firmly on Catapult 1, an advanced Super Hornet fighter jet spools its twin engines to maximum military thrust power. The catapult officer swiftly drops to one knee and dramatically touches the deck, instantly signaling the immediate and violent launch. The heavy holdback bar instantly breaks, and the powerful steam shuttle fires the fully loaded fighter into the morning sky. It violently accelerates from 0 to 165 miles per hour in just under 3 terrifying seconds. 4 punishing Gs forcefully shove the experienced pilot's spine deeply into his tightly strapped ejection seat during the intense launch. It's definitely enough physical pressure to vividly test whether his hasty morning breakfast will comfortably stay down today. The Black Aces are now aggressively heading straight for Chabahar, which operates as Iran's only crucial deep-water port today. At approximately the exact same time, Tomahawk missiles perfectly hit the command post and fuel storage facilities back in Tehran. But the vital submarine piers in the bustling southern port are still surprisingly standing tall and functioning completely normally. A highly dangerous Ghadir-class midget sub silently slips out to sea, completely capable of laying deadly explosive sea mines. It navigates carefully on a remarkably small hull, designed specifically to seamlessly hide among massive commercial container shipping traffic. That incredibly stealthy maritime escape absolutely cannot be allowed to happen while the American fleet operates nearby today. The lead Hornet pilot aggressively rolls in on the targeted submarine pier, firmly locking onto a critical target structure. His skilled wingman tightly follows merely 30 seconds later, purposefully dropping a second massive bomb onto a neighboring dry dock. If you suddenly cannot safely fuel a dangerous submarine, meticulously repair it, or properly load it with lethal explosive mines, it might as well functionally become an incredibly expensive and completely useless lawn ornament rusting away in the hot sun. A third carefully coordinated pair of fighters accurately targets the Charlie 802 anti-ship missile battery, prominently positioned on the coastal bluff. That specific mobile launcher, previously threatening massive oil tankers and coalition warships constantly, instantly ceases to exist forever. 2 smart bombs accurately impact the missile battery, permanently neutralizing the significant coastal threat before it can ever fire back. But roughly 500 miles further north, the incredibly advanced F-35I stealth fighters over Tehran are critically running low on fuel. Furthermore, the deeply integrated Iranian air defense system, carefully hidden inside the western mountain ranges, is finally coming terrifyingly alive. 3 brutal hours into the massive operation, the sophisticated weapon Iran was heavily counting on finally gives its position away. After Israel systematically dismantled virtually all of Iran's Russian-supplied S-300 batteries in October 2024, Tehran panicked completely. Brilliant Iranian engineers genuinely did something incredibly impressive by spending 2 long years secretly building a domestic replacement system. What the Israeli Defense Forces will later officially designate the SA-65 is a highly capable mobile phased array radar network. It boasts a roughly 150-kilometer effective engagement range, representing the absolute ceiling of Iranian technological capability. This highly advanced defensive system was strategically positioned directly in the rugged Zagros Mountains to fiercely guard the western approach corridor. It's the exact same heavily contested airspace that numerous Allied jets have been aggressively utilizing since the early morning hours. Suddenly, an EA-18G Growler electronic attack aircraft from the Lincoln's Air Wing flawlessly detects the very first radar emission. This highly dangerous SA-65 search radar has been quietly emitting intermittent pulses for hours, frantically trying to locate stealth fighters. It was incredibly disciplined, pulsing just long enough to hunt the F-35s without ever giving away its own location permanently. But right now, with a massive secondary wave of RAM missiles actively streaming inbound through that exact corridor, the seasoned battery commander quickly makes a terrifying decision that every single trained air defense operator absolutely dreads making today. With absolutely no other options remaining, he dramatically flips his complex control panel directly into full continuous tracking mode. He is definitively going for a desperate kill shot before his $1 million system gets permanently deleted from existence. The exact microsecond his powerful radar fully transmits, he is completely finished, and his entire combat crew knows it immediately. The Growler's next-generation electronic jammer instantly floods his sensitive tracking frequency with an overwhelming amount of raw microwave power. Simultaneously, an F-35I that has been passively monitoring that specific electromagnetic band for exactly 90 minutes securely data links coordinates, passing precise grid coordinates through an encrypted Link 16 connection to a heavily armed F-15E orbiting safely 60 miles away. The F-15E pilot never even bothers firing a single shot himself, because he simply doesn't need to risk it. Every crucial piece of targeting data his jet efficiently processes makes the very next striker's dangerous job incredibly easier today. 12 deadly F-22 Raptors rapidly answer the critical call, originally launching from Joint Base Langley Eustis far across the globe. These absolute apex predators of the sky had flawlessly ferried to an Allied base in Israel just 4 days ago. They have been aggressively circling high above western Iraq for exactly 3 long hours, patiently waiting for this exact moment. Watching the complex air defense picture quickly shift from a passive red threat ring directly to an active amber lock. The lead Raptor pilot smoothly shoves both heavy throttles entirely forward into full military power, banking sharply into Iranian airspace. His incredibly sophisticated APG-77 radar is continuously illuminating absolutely everything within an impressive 125-mile radius. It tracks small aerial contacts roughly the physical size of a generic golf ball with absolute precision and unmatched clarity. Meanwhile, the Raptor's unique stealth profile returns an incredibly tiny radar signature, roughly equivalent to a small glass marble. Any incoming Iranian fighter jet would critically need to be within a mere 15 miles to successfully detect the Raptor. At a staggering 15 miles distance, the Raptor's deadly AMRAAM missiles are already screaming straight off the internal weapon rails. It's the terrifying radar equivalent of being practically invisible right up until you are standing inside someone's private living room. But these magnificent Raptors are absolutely not here to eagerly shoot down any aging conventional fighter jets this morning. They are specifically deployed here to silently listen and surgically eliminate the most dangerous mobile missile launchers on the ground. The advanced electronic warfare suite embedded deeply inside the Raptor is the most effective system ever mounted onto a fighter. Over 30 distinct antennas are meticulously embedded across the wings, fuselage, and tail section of the stealthy 5th-generation jet. Each highly sensitive antenna is perfectly tuned to monitor a vastly different slice of the crowded electromagnetic transmission spectrum. As the stealthy Raptor smoothly cruises over central Iran, the sophisticated system is quietly cataloging every single electronic emission below. Suddenly, a heavily camouflaged mobile surface-to-air missile battery desperately tries to acquire a fast-moving Israeli drone overhead. The Raptor's advanced internal computers instantly process that brief radar flash, flawlessly pinpointing the exact geographical location of the threat. An Iranian command post desperately attempts to transmit a secure warning message to its scattered mobile launcher units hiding nearby. That critical transmission is immediately intercepted, perfectly decoded, and securely passed back to the Allied strike packages waiting on standby. Before the Iranian commander can even release his microphone button, a precision-guided bomb is already screaming downward toward him. The massive underground bunkers that once proudly housed Iran's most strategic ballistic missiles are now completely transformed into smoking craters. 3 decades of heavily funded military infrastructure and complex defensive networks have been systematically erased in just a few hours. The coordinated Allied strike packages completely dismantled the entire command and control apparatus, leaving the remaining Iranian forces totally blind. Desperate local commanders are now completely isolated, utterly unable to coordinate any meaningful counterattacks against the overwhelming aerial coalition forces. The morning sun finally rises higher over the rugged Zagros Mountains, brightly illuminating a devastated and permanently altered military landscape. What was widely considered an impenetrable fortress of modern air defense has been violently proven to be a fatal illusion. American and Allied air power has decisively demonstrated its terrifying capability to project absolute dominance anywhere on the globe without warning. The shattered concrete and lingering thick black smoke serve as a grim reminder of what happens when diplomacy finally fails. Every single strategic target has been successfully neutralized, ensuring that the critical global shipping lanes will remain open and safe. The exhausted but highly victorious fighter pilots finally turn their jets westward, beginning the long and quiet journey back home. Their flawless execution of this incredibly complex military operation will definitely be intensely studied in tactical warfare academies for generations. As the skies over Tehran finally grow silent, the geopolitical balance of the entire Middle East has been permanently shifted. If you found this intense military analysis incredibly fascinating, please make sure to like this video right now for more. Do not forget to subscribe to the Navy Show channel so you never miss our next thrilling tactical breakdown episode.